We now read a second time. I call the member for Balcombe Hills.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I rise to make a short contribution to the Law Enforcement and National Security Assumed Identities Bill 2013. As the House is already aware, this bill is the result of a far-reaching review of current Law Enforcement and National Security Assumed Identities Act of 2010. I commend the Minister in the other place, the Honourable Mike Gallagher, for this timely bill and the necessary reforms that it represents. And I note that the majority of members of this House have agreed to pass this bill with due support. The bill is a good reform in terms of assumed identities and reduces a large amount of red tape that current sounds surrounds the current bill. It is, however, a modest suite of reforms indicating that the current arrangements are working well, but just simply need updating. The current system, that is based on the model laws of the Committee of Attorneys General in 2004. The current system does not allow for cross-border recognition of assumed identities. This is something that will change as a result of this bill. That being said, the review did conclude that overall the Act is satisfactory in its service to counter terrorism and indeed the entire state of New South Wales and its public. The review did also acknowledge that cross-border assumed identities are a matter needing to be addressed. Assumed identities are used for physical and electronic surveillance, were used also in financial administration, undercover duties and witness protection. It is good to note that no acts of fraud or unlawful activity were identified in the report. Assumed identities are an important part of the surveillance and protection for the public. Assumed identity applicants are becoming increasingly frequent. In the last reporting year, the New South Wales Police established 194 assumed identities and ICAC used 3. This is a significant increase on previous occasions. Shockingly, Commonwealth agencies have not been able to access the register of births, deaths and marriages to establish their assumed identities. As I'm sure all members understand, that in this age of cybercrime and counter-terrorism, infiltration of certain unsavoury and threatening organisations is an important part of our security and intelligence network in the current era. This bill makes it easier for Commonwealth agencies to create their assumed identities, something that is very difficult at the moment. Currently, only state-based law enforcement agencies have access to such provisions. This is naturally inadequate. It is astounding that organisations such as ASIO and ACIS currently have to have the support of a state-based organisation, such as the New South Wales Police, in order to establish necessary assumed identities. Another core component of these reforms that have been part of the consultation process involving other Australian jurisdictions is the general increase in cooperation between Australian jurisdictions regarding assumed identities. Mr Acting Speaker, this bill will help our states and territories work together to help each other to pursue criminals and terrorists no matter where they hide. For that reason, I commend the bill to the House.